get another acceleration here. A little bit turbo lag. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it quick by any means. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a 2023 Land Rover Defender 30th Anniversary Edition. First and foremost, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Defender. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below where you can check this one out. It is available for sale right now. They also have a few more Defenders as well, so they're pretty stocked up right now in terms of Defenders. Anyways, as always, also link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 17 around town and then 20 on the highway, with power outputs being 296 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. So here's the key fob for the Defender. The reason I'm showing you guys the key fob is we actually have this button right here that'll turn the lights on, which is really cool. Think if it's at night and you need access to something in the front of the car, well, boom, you got lights there. Anyways, notice here how the Defender logo is all blacked out and then the trim pieces on either side as well. And then you can see here with the lights are actually very, very bright. And then you do have the daytime running light just around that, and then you can see with the fog lights down here, notice with our little subtle Land Rover logo, and then you can see a lot of the trim has been kind of like blacked out here on the front end. We do have a camera right there on the front with the parking sensors as well, and then in normal Defender fashion, they've kind of shaped the whole front end for approach angle, and there you go. Now, coming around the side here, we've got two 55mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And since this is the 4-cylinder Defender, this actually can fit 18-inch wheels from the factory, and you've got the white steelies that are part of this 30th anniversary package. Now, this particular one does have air suspension, as you can see, and then look how aggressive these tires are. And then notice here with the larger fender flares on the side, and then we have the blacked out accent piece there. We also have the side steps, and then you can see here with the splash guards. Notice the mirrors are blacked out, and you can see like most of the trim around the windows, but then notice that trim piece, and then also the pillars are body painted, including the roof. Gives it a very unique appearance. I think it looks pretty cool. And then we do have the rack there on the top, which you can put whatever you want up there, including like camping gear and everything. I mean, this thing is all set from the factory to go out on adventures. Now again, with that key fob, you have this button here, which you think would open up the hatch, but it actually just unlocks the hatch. You have to open it up yourself. It's all connected, just like the Mercedes G-Wagon, which definitely looks really cool. And notice it says Defender there on the hatch. And then you guys can see back here with the little netting on the side, and then notice here with the back of these seats, you have that protection right there, so you can just throw things in. You don't have to worry about it whatsoever. Now, since this has the air suspension, you have these buttons here on the back to raise and lower the rear, which is definitely a lot of help. And then if we pick up this, you guys can see everything underneath here. And notice here with the flooring again, so you don't have to worry about like, getting carpet dirty and all that kind of stuff. I really like that. Also, gigantic with the power outlet situation. And then when you're all done, you just close it all in one go. Now, finishing things up with the rest of the rear, we have the spare tire, which is another steely, which looks really cool. And then we have the Defender's signature taillight. Sorry about them not showing up with the lighting very well right here. Parking sensors here on the bottom, and you guys can see here with the little exhaust tips as well. Receiver hitch, and then again with those mud flaps. And then we do get our 30th anniversary badge, 1 of 500. Pretty cool. And I think that means that this is the rarest Defender I've ever reviewed. Now, before we go over the door panel, I also want to show you guys, this one has the side ladder, which not only looks really cool from an aesthetic perspective, but it adds to the practicality, because then you can pull this down and then access the rooftop with whatever you've put up there. Now, from a material perspective, I love the Defender's interior. You guys can see here, really soft to the touch, and I love how the white comes inside here. It definitely pops out quite a bit. It's super bright. Got the blind spot warning here for the rear passengers, a few speakers for the sound system, and those side steps help out quite a bit with getting in. You guys see that in a moment. But here are the seats. So notice this one looks like has the leather seats. You can get with the Defender. And then notice we also have a grab handle, so getting in is very easy. And this has the air suspension, so you can lower it too. Room back here is great. And then notice here with the little storage cubby. And then here with the vents, we've got our climate zone here for the rear passengers. And then you got the USBs on top of that. And then notice here with the cup holder situation, we have the what they call the Alpine lights here, which definitely opens up the interior quite a bit. And look at that door panel closed. Again, it just pops. Let's pop to the front. Now here's the front door panel. Again, same thing from a material standpoint, just feels really cool. We've got all of our window controls right here, more speakers for the Meridian sound system, blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then here again is the front seat. Notice perforated all down the center portion. And then the seats are manually adjustable. Pedal layout down below, we got our parking brake here, and then notice again with more padding, and then look at all the white trim on the dash and on the steering wheel. Let's pop in. So here is the steering wheel with the Defender. We've got really nice leather trim all around, and again, notice how the face is white, so it matches kind of like the overall theme of this particular Defender. We have our cruise control on the one side, and then also if I press this, that actually changes the face of it, because you do have the controls in the center stack you can kind of go through. Turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster. Now this is the half analog, half screen gauge cluster you can get with the Defender, as you guys can see. Notice we got a bunch of different bits of info we can scroll through here on the Defender, just like most modern vehicles, like the media, information on the vehicle, you know, all the normal works, and there you go. So here's the center infotainment system. First off, we've got this 360 camera system. As you guys can see, trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel, and then when you go from reverse to drive, notice it changes the camera view, which is pretty cool. And you do have your off-road mode, and you have your towing mode as well. Like it's got something for everyone. Anyways, moving on from the camera system to the infotainment system, you got like the shortcut bar here on the side. Response time with the screen's fantastic. Things are pretty cool. You got like your wheel info. Notice here shows what elevation we're at right now. We got our slope assist, so we're 1 degree to the side. Things are getting pretty dicey here, but overall, really good infotainment system. So we got the shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission, and then we have a bunch of controls here in this area. So we have our hill descent control, auto stop start. This is for the air suspension to raise and lower it. Stability control, low range. We have the climate control section here, press it in. You can do the seats. This only has heated seats, no air conditioned seats. And then you press that for the fan speed. And then you got the rest of the climate controls down here. And then this is for the drive mode select. These are all pretty much off-road drive modes. Pretty much we got eco for on-road use, comfort up for on-road use, and we have grass, gravel, mud ruts, sand, rock crawl, wade, and then you got your configurable mode where you can customize what you want it to do. And yeah, those are all of the different drive modes. And then when you're done selecting the drive mode, just press that and you're all good to go. We've got our little charging port area here, and then look at the storage space. And then we have this very nice, I guess we can call it like a grab handle area. It just looks really cool overall. A couple cup holders. And then we have our center console, and then notice with the phone charger right there. And again, I really like the material use with like the touch points here on the Defender. And then again with another grab handle here, it says Defender, we got another USB there. And then we have our glove box set up here, and I definitely love the look of the dash here in the Defender. And then popping up top, you can see you've got the full panoramic center, you've got controls for the center right here, regular mirror, and well, there you go. So here's our window sticker for this 30th anniversary edition, and funny enough, it doesn't say 30th anniversary edition on this. It just says Defender 110S. So you're like, oh, it's just a regular Defender, right? But it's not just a regular Defender. There is the standard equipment, also warranty information, 4-year, 50,000 mile new vehicle warranty is the big thing. And then notice the base price here on a Defender S, $57,200. Now this one has quite a few options added to it to make this all set up for off-road use, which makes sense because the 30th anniversary is kind of like an off-road type package, but this also has like the air suspension added to it, tow package, all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, you guys can see here with the 30th anniversary edition, it's $74,500, and then here's your total price, $76,420. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility of the hood. Both of the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So setting off here in this 30th anniversary edition, and this is also going to be kind of like a review of the Defender with the turbocharged 4-cylinder as well, because that's what the 30th anniversary comes with. First off, this feels like so much more luxurious compared to like a Wrangler or a Bronco. A lot of people seem to be comparing this to those two, and then obviously the Mercedes G-Wagon, but that one's so much more expensive. I mean, that thing starts at where this ends from a price point perspective, because like the most expensive I think you can spec out a Defender is a V8, and with like every option it's like $120,000, whereas a G-Wagon starts like $130. Anyways, the point that I wanted to make is this is so much more insulated compared to a Wrangler or a Bronco. Like, I feel like I'm driving around a nice luxury vehicle. Like it has that like nice insulated feel to it, and wind noise is like at lower speeds non-existent, but you can tell it's just a lot less. Like, you don't hear all the things happening all around, and so that's definitely a nice feeling. But again, you still have that cool like off-roader appearance, and this still feels like a very large, substantial vehicle. Like, you feel like you've got this nice presence on the road, and seating position also kind of lends to that as well. Now, at low speeds, this turbocharged 2 liter is actually really solid. It definitely, you can feel it's pretty torquey. It's definitely very comfortable. Other thing, air suspension with the Defender is very comfortable as well. You know, a lot of people probably wonder, you know, should you spend the money on the air suspension? And, you know, what I'd have to say is it definitely lends to a lot more ride comfort. And on top of that, you've got the adjustability aspect of it too, so that if, you know, it's harder for you to get in and out of the vehicle, air suspension helps out with that. And then, you know, if you ever do any sort of off-road adventures in this, then you're going to have the extra ground clearance, so you're not going to be scraping your beautiful Defender bumpers, right? And it's so nice how this drives. Steering's really, you know, effortless, but it's also it's direct enough that it actually feels like I'm steering like a real vehicle. That person in the Tesla's on their phone. Tesla owners thinking that they can just let their car drive itself. Yeah, again, on it, it's actually pretty decent. I wouldn't call it fast by any means, but it feels like it gets up at a decent pace. We got another acceleration here since we're at the front of the line, so we can race this Subaru, show them who's boss. But yeah, I think it's solid in terms of the feel. So we'll get another acceleration here. A little bit turbo lag. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it quick by any means, because you know, I mean, this is a pretty big vehicle, but it gets up and moves, and I think this is pretty comparable in terms of the acceleration to like the Wrangler with its turbocharged 2 liter. That might be a little bit quicker because it's a lighter vehicle, but it's pretty close. The Bronco's base V6 is, or not V6, base 4-cylinder rather, is pretty peppy, but again, this is right in line with that from acceleration perspective. And again, the benefit of this is you can fit the smaller wheels, so you can fit more aggressive off-road tires with a little bit more sidewall, which is definitely, you know, what you want if you're going to be going on adventures, which is kind of what this 30th anniversary edition is all about. So summing things up here with this Defender, I think the outside of this looks just phenomenal, as you guys saw with the exterior shots. And then I love the interior with this, with like the bright white. Like it's definitely like just bam, right at you. It's really, really cool stuff. And then from a driving perspective, it's very comfortable. And this one has all the off-road stuff, right? It has the off-road package, and it has the air suspension, and so this has the stuff to be able to handle you know, tons of off-road situations. I've watched the off-road videos of these Defenders, and it's shocking the terrain that they are able to go through. And so what I'd have to say is, basically, if you know, you want obviously something that is super rare because it's only 1 of 500 and has all the off-road stuff, that's what this package gives you. And in terms of the 4-cylinder, it's no slouch. You know, it's not quick. The 6-cylinder definitely feels quite a bit quicker, but the 4-cylinder is more than enough. And especially, you know, in terms of off-road application, for sure, because you really don't need more than like right around what this has, right around 300 horsepower. That's perfect for off-road situations. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this Defender 30th anniversary edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Defender. I will see all of you in the next video.